anticipation of this, we had gone and pre-recorded a show with one of our previous guests, basically touching on the essentials of, their expertise. So just in case this happens, just so you guys know, we won't leave you guys just hanging in this block. I'd like to remind you that we are streaming live on all your favorite platforms, and also be sure to make sure that you go like, comment, subscribe, and also throw something in the chat. I'm looking at it right here, right now. I mean, all you got to do is go and drop me a line. As you can see, we got Bernie B here saying hello. Hello, Bernie. Welcome to the show. Hopefully you've been watching for a while, but I just messed up, which is funny because I don't usually sit in this position, so you guys will have to bear with me a little bit. But long story short here is, Danny not being in today, we had to kind of go and set up a show here so you guys could go and actually get some content. And so what I did is we had talked to Dave Bartosiak a while back, and he had a conversation with us about, momentum trading. So in a minute we'll get to that, but I wanted to, while we're here now, go and make sure that, we gave you guys something to talk about. And if you just bear with me for a moment, I can fix that. Yeah, there we go. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly go over the portfolio just so you guys have an idea what's happening. There's not really much going on since we've added these things to the watch list. I mean, due to the fact that everything with the trade wars kind of been crazy lately, you can kind of see that, not much movement. Things have come up, which I would say back to their basic level to where we started looking at them for the most part. Not much movement really at all. If we go over to Danny's portfolio real quick, you'll see that, he's still in the negative a little bit, but, Walt Disney, for whatever reason, still Zacks number 5. It's come up since he added it, but, yeah, we know that's going to come up, no problem. Square is doing a bit better today. AT&T also doing a bit better. So I think if it wasn't for where he came in on Walt Disney, he probably would be beating me now. But if you go over to my portfolio, now I'm still in the red, not by much, but actually, I think, didn't he just say 9%? I think he might actually be beating me. When I checked earlier, 86%. Yeah, when I checked earlier, I was definitely leading, which is not to say much because it's still in the red, but we know from the picks that we have in my portfolio, Disney, of course, is going to kill it at one point or another here. For gold is obviously going to probably come up here in a little bit if there continues to be any sort of, uncertainty in the markets, but I think that's all going to be sorted out personally. But overall, not really all too bad. I don't know, guys. There's not really much I can really give you just being here solo. Yeah, there's Fernando Lopez saying Kevin was right about Square. Yeah, Kevin is definitely on point, and we will definitely have him back here soon. So, while I'm still chatting and setting everything up here, I just want to remind you guys all that I will be sitting here watching the chat live while this plays for you. It's Dave Bartosiak talking about momentum trading, but like, subscribe, comment, drop a note in here in the chat so you could potentially get your question answered next time we're live, and we can do a little research and probably come back with a stronger answer than we would normally on the fly. So know that I'm watching, and while I'm here, enjoy. Hello, and welcome back to Paper Traders, the show where two average Joes try to beat the market. I am your co-host, Eric, and I'm here with Danny Mac, and on top of that, we have a special guest, Dave Bartosiak, who is our momentum stock strategist, editor, surprise trader, and blockchain innovators. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to kind of go over what it is that you do. We're going to focus on the momentum side of the investing world. So if you could kind of give us a little bit of a rundown of what a momentum stock is in the first place, and then we'll get into the, fine details later.
Yeah, so you can think of momentum in sort of the classic physics term when you're talking about momentum investing. So, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. And that's kind of what we're looking at for stocks. So stocks that are on the move, breaking out to highs, have a tendency to continue to break out. And that's what momentum investing is all about. It's not buy low, sell high. It's buy high, sell higher.
All right. So, finding those stocks, I feel like sometimes might be a little difficult with a lot of fluctuation in those types of stocks. Now, how do you kind of sift through the enormous amount of stocks that are available to us to kind of find those momentum stocks?
So Zacks makes it easy because we have screeners available on Zacks.com. So the simple screener that I like to use is I just look for Zacks rank number 2 buy and Zacks rank number 1 strong buy stocks that are within about 15% of their 52-week highs. So that's sort of the basic screener that I use, because that way you get stocks that obviously from a price perspective are up near highs if they're within 15% of that all-time high. But also you have the earnings. So with that Zacks rank number 2 buy and Zacks rank number 1 strong buy, I know that there's an earnings story there where there has been a positive trend in their earnings over the course of the last several months. So that way I know the stock is moving up for a reason. It's because it's being validated there by those earnings moving in the right direction. So you get sort of a nice 1-2 punch.
Right.
So are earnings basically like the largest mover in terms of momentum, or are there other pieces of the puzzle that also are pretty important?
So earnings in general moves stock prices. And then so by finding stocks with these solid earnings stories that are out at 52-week highs, then you get the 1-2 punch. So it's the momentum with the price momentum, and then you also get that earnings momentum that's kicking in there.
Okay, well, you said that you typically look for stocks that are around 15% off of their 52-week high. So you're not typically buying stocks that are at 52-week highs. You're looking for a little bit of a pullback so you have room to grow, or is that kind of how you do it?
I just look for stocks within 15% of their 52-week high, because we're talking about every single kind of market, right? So if the market's down 20% from the all-time highs, you're going to have a tough time finding stocks that are at their 52-week highs, right? It's pretty rare. So I run this screen pretty much every single week, sometimes 2-3 times a week. I used to do it every day when I was running Momentum Trader. And what you get is you find that in really strong markets, you're going to have 50 or 60 names that are up there at their 52-week high. And then in a weak market, you are going to have 0. So I like to throw in a little bit of a cushion there just so I can try to uncover momentum despite what the broad market might be doing.
So then, as you're narrowing down stocks, like what are, in terms of the Zacks rank, the specific pieces that you're looking for? Because obviously momentum is probably part of the puzzle, but you also have obviously value, growth, anything else. If you're talking growth and income, he's usually looking for divergence. So is there a kind of, I don't know, maybe a little, almost not like a screener, but is there a way to help narrow those stocks down outside of a screener, just looking at momentum breakdowns?
So there's a way to do it that I lean on is if you look at the price consensus and EPS surprise chart, or just the price and consensus chart that we have for each of those stocks on Zacks.com, what you'll be able to see is you'll be able to see the price in relation to the earnings trends. And there's no kind of magical number or formula that's going to show you that, yes, that's the one. You'll just be able to see it. So if you eyeball it, you can tell that earnings trend has troughed and started to go to the upside. You can see that it's been steady throughout the course of the last several years. So that's what you really got to look for, is if you look for the steady one that just keeps on going, that's something that you can buy and hang on to forever, because earnings trends take a really long time to develop. It's not like a stock price. The stock price can change on a dime. It could be up 15% yesterday and down 5% today, and it happens all the time. But earnings and that earnings trend is going to stay there for much longer and continue to go in one direction until it sort of rolls over and then goes the other way. So you can find confidence in these trends that are sort of rolling over on the bottom and starting to come up. That's where you can really find some of these gems out there in the market.
So would you say the holding period for a momentum stock would be lower than one, say, a value stock, or would you say that they're pretty comparable depending just on what's going on?
They're definitely different, because the value guys can, hold it forever and just be like, well, it's a value, so they can hold it for 10 years and be like, eventually it's going to come around, right? You don't have that luxury in momentum. Either it's moving or it's not moving. So you're either with it or you're not with it and you're out. So definitely a shorter holding period than value, because you can hold value for years and years and years. However, there are momentum stocks that, will stay momentum stocks for 18 months, a year, 2 years. So it does happen. And you can make the argument that some of them even last longer than that. But that's pretty rare for momentum stock to be kicking for that long of a period. It's usually in between earnings reports, really, that they get on their high horse.
So it sounds like, as a momentum trader, you kind of have to be on your toes, or not even a trader, as an investor, you still have to be on your toes, because even if these stocks are kind of growing over 18 months, you never know when that switch is going to be flipped. So is it something that this type of strategy wouldn't be for every investor? Is it for kind of somebody who loves to be on top of the market and what's going on in the news, or is it for somebody who kind of likes to just buy something that's kind of growing and hopes that it continues, and that type of idea?
Yeah, it's more, momentum stocks are for the very shallow investors out there. And what I mean by that is when the thing stops looking pretty, you dump it. All right, it's that simple. So yes, it's something you got to be on top of. And when these stocks stop looking good, you're going to have to get rid of them, and you just kind of move on to the next one, and that's it. So you can't fall in love with them. You just got to take them out for a couple weeks, and then when it's over, and you find the next one. So it's like the Tinder of stocks.
All right. Well, do you use like a lot of technical factors to kind of narrow down when you should, I guess, throw away the ugly stocks that you no longer want? How do you figure out when is a good time to get out? I mean, I feel like with those fluctuations in a momentum stock, I mean, you said 15% off 52-week highs. That for some people can be a lot to lose. So at what point do you go, all right, let's cut our losses or cut our profits and get out of this stock?
Yeah, so I like to use like a 20-day moving average. And so when the stock drops below that on consecutive days, then you kind of go, okay, the party's over. Okay. But ahead of that, you just keep on riding that, up higher and higher.
All right. Well, Dave, is there any other little bits of information or some little nugget of knowledge you could drop that we didn't potentially hit on here about momentum?
I mean, you can also lean on the earnings momentum by looking at that VGM score. There is a momentum style score in there of A. That's less weighted towards the price of the stock and the price momentum, and a little bit more towards the earnings momentum inside of a stock. So that's something you can look at in addition to the Zacks rank to give you a nice idea of momentum stocks that are out there.
So in short, love them and leave them. Make sure that they're constantly on the move, otherwise you're out. Check out the momentum score, 50-day moving average. Run a screener where it's 15% of its average moving day average.
Yeah,
or its daily moving average.
Within 15% of its 52-week high is what I look at, and it's the 20-day moving average.
20-day moving average. I'm glad that we articulated that properly and you cleared me up. All right, guys. So that's about it for our show today. I thank Dave for coming on. He will definitely be coming back in the future to lay some more knowledge on us, and he definitely knows a bit about options trading and everything else. So, Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And just so you guys know, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, leave some information here for us. Don't forget to watch Free Lunch with Ben Rains on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And check out Surprise Trader, which is Dave's trading service. And we'll see you soon.